Hello everyone! Today we will continue to look at the RedHat System Administrator Certification question bank. Next, let's look at question 13. The main event is here. Although the score for our container questions isn't particularly high. We have 2 container questions in total. 27 points. The 2 questions together total 27 points. Why am I so sure? Because previously some students took the exam once. What kind of operation was it? It was that all the other questions were done, all completed, but the container questions were not done. The final score was 270. Hey, it was 270 something. 273 points, missing 27 points, which means missing the 2 container questions. Some students figured out the score for the container questions this way. So here it's like this. Although the score isn't particularly high, right? It seems like not doing it doesn't affect your passing, but it's best to do it just in case you make a small mistake on other questions, right? Maybe you wrote a parameter wrong, or perhaps you accidentally wrote a command incorrectly and didn't notice, which could lead to losing some points due to carelessness, right? So the points that should be earned should still be earned, even for the container questions, although the commands might be relatively longer. These are the longest commands among all our questions, but relatively speaking, actually, it's not that difficult. Actually, it's not that difficult at all. Here, the container questions are divided into 2 parts. Let's first look at the first one, which is question 13, creating a container image. The requirement for this question is actually what? It's very simple, just to create a container image. Here, you need to pay attention to the fact that the user required for the operation is not an administrator. Please note, the user required for the operation here is not an administrator. Not an administrator, let me emphasize that again. And then, next we will proceed with this specific operation. Here we need to install a tool for our container. But ordinary users actually do not have the permission to install software. So what do we do first? We first use the administrator to install the software, and then we switch to the ordinary user. To create this container, the operation of the image is like this, and the subsequent operations for these 2 tasks will be completed by our ordinary user, not the administrator user. So here, first we will install the container tool. Now let's open our terminal. Here, we will proceed with the installation of the container tool. There are quite a few software packages, but they are not particularly large, actually not very large. Once it's installed, we can switch to the regular user. As for the administrator, here we are only responsible for installing this container tool, and the subsequent operations will be completed by the regular user. Let's wait a moment. Here, because there are indeed a total of 32 software packages, which is quite a few. Let's wait a moment here. After the installation is complete, okay, it's done here. Once completed, the next step is to switch users, Shadi. Right now, we are not the regular user, right? We are currently the administrator, so we will switch to the regular user. Switch to the regular user. Our regular user's name is who is commonly referred to as. Right. Let's use the IP. Use the IP. What is the MIP again? Let's check what the IP is. IP. The IP is up to 172 points. 25 points. 250 points. 100. Of course, the host name can also be used. This host name is a bit too long. But if the host name is slightly long, it's not just a node, there's a string after it. So, if the host name we changed in the first question is a bit long, it's unnecessary. So here we just use, just log in with the IP. Okay, the password part is blocking us again, just like the user earlier was stopped by the password. What is the password now? So the password should be, the default password is RedHat. The password for other users should be. Forgetting it is of course not a problem because we are administrators. We are administrators, so we can change the password. This is not an issue at all. Looking at the question just now, there was no password given in the question, right? This of course doesn't affect anything. It doesn't affect. We are administrators. We can directly change the password. That's okay. Of course, usually the question will tell us what the password is. Then, here, let's first change the password. Change the user's password. Oh, this user hasn't been created yet? Then it's not. Then it's not his fault, huh? Since it hasn't been created yet, let's create it first. Alright, let's create this user first. After creating the user, right? Let's give him a password. Of course, there are two ways to set the password, right? Previously, we used the echo command, right? This time, let's use the password command instead. As for the password, feel free to choose whatever you like. After setting the password, what's next? We will switch over using SSH. Approximately 25.25, 0.1. Approximately 2525, around 0.100. After connecting as a regular user, what's the next step? We need to log into our image repository in the task. As for the image repository, the name here is this, huh? This will be specified in the task. It will tell us what the exact parameters are. In our environment, it's called, let's write down the password first. This is the password. You see, the passwords, users, and the specific repository address will all be mentioned in the exam task. Just pay attention and make sure not to write them incorrectly. Then here, we write down the domain name, and after writing the host domain name, we log in first. Log in first. Let's see where there might be an issue, huh? Log in with the username and password. Add the repository name at the end. What is the error here? The error is should this name here be this name, right? The name here is the domain name, DEO. The username is admin and the password is redhead321, no problem. For this question, if this situation occurs, it's okay. It doesn't matter. If this situation occurs, it's usually something in the environment. What information did it report here? Today, it actually reported that it has already found this IP. Did everyone see that? It has already found this IP, but in reality, we haven't connected here, right? It hasn't connected. Let me take a look over here. What about our hostname registration review address? It is. This is fine. The username is admin. The password is RedHat321, also no problem. then our login command is also okay. So here, if all these checks are fine, then what could be the issue? It might be that one of our containers hasn't fully started up. It might not have fully started up. Normally, after executing the command here, the next step is to use the wget command to download this. The image we need, that's all. The error of not being found is because we haven't connected to this. On the server, and here finally, by adding build t to specify PDF. This way you can build a container image. This concludes this task. But in reality here we can see it hasn't started, right? It hasn't started, but that's okay. At this step, what can we do? At this point, our operations on node 1 are almost finished, and the container is about to be completed. So, what can we do? Yeah, we can exit first. Now that we've exited to this position, let's reset your environment. Restart your virtual machines. If we can't connect to our server, meaning our container's image server can't be reached, what does that mean? It actually means that your environment hasn't fully started up. This isn't a big issue, and during the exam, using these commands directly is fine. Our environment is relatively large, so it's inevitable that sometimes some components might not run properly. This is normal. Then here we will switch back to our basic environment. After switching over, we will return to our virtual machine, because here we can't open the virtual machine management interface. What counts as a normal startup? It's when, after starting up normally, you can use it. The putman command can log into this repository, and once the environment is fully set up, it can log in with the putman login command. Here we need to wait for a moment. After it starts here, we will then return to the virtual machine and start our console. Let's check the current situation. Right now there are none at all, which is normal. It's normal to have none. Then next we will start. First we will start our classroom. This needs to be started separately, and then we will start the others one by one. Okay, let's start the first classroom, and then we will start the others. For the other machines, we can use this command to start them all together. So the classroom is a bit special and needs to be started separately. Then for the rest, we will start them one by one using commands. What to do after everything is up? You can simply take a snapshot. You can take a snapshot. Then, once everything is up, we can proceed to handle the others. Some operations should be repeated according to what we covered in the first lesson, and then you can continue with other content. Of course, all of this is done in our simulated environment. What about the others? There's no need to do this in the real environment. In the real exam environment, everything is already running. The virtual machines are all set up, so we don't need to perform so many operations. You can start directly from the first question. You don't need to memorize these commands. They won't be tested in the exam, and you won't need them for now. Okay, let's start it up first. I'll pause it for now. Once everything is up, we'll continue. Alright, we have successfully started a few virtual machines. Next, we'll complete the remaining steps, and then we can test if our containers are functioning properly. So here, first, once everything is up, we can directly take the contents of the current directory, copy it. After copying it over, we extract it. The virtual machine here is a bit slow, so there might be some issues with typing. Let's wait a moment, because with so many virtual machines running, it's normal for it to be a bit slow. This is a normal phenomenon. Here, let's continue extracting this archive. Okay, now it's normal. We can start extracting. After successfully extracting the archive, we switch to this directory using cd, and then we can execute the script inside. We can start officially executing the operation. The machine is indeed a bit slow. Just a bit slow. Let's wait a moment. Okay, extracting here. After extraction is complete, what's next? We cd. Switch to our directory and then start executing our script. Is it not lagging now? Then wait here for a moment, let it finish executing the script. Once it's done, we can exit and start normal operations. For the operation here, we first need to connect to our node 1. We need to connect to node 1. So when connecting here, since we have initialized the environment, what has the name of node 1 changed to? It has changed to server A, right? So this time, we will still connect through server A to our virtual machine, and then we can directly work on this container. And that's it for this task. Here we wait for it to complete. Let's pause here for a moment, and once it's done, we will continue. After it finishes running, we return to this terminal, and now we will connect remotely. We will also connect to because we just initialized here, so the hostname is still server A. Yes, still server A. Next, after switching in, the first step is to check the user. Let's first take a look at the user required for our current task. Since it already exists, what do we do next? Well, we proceed by first, let's install again. -mo tools. Let's install this content first because we just initialized, so these contents need to be reinstalled. After installing next, once we connect remotely, we can log in. This time, relatively speaking, the startup wait time is also quite long, but it should have successfully run. If anyone encounters a situation where it hasn't run successfully, you can reinitialize once more, restart, and then after starting, you can take a snapshot. Later, when you do it the second, third, or fourth time, you can continue to operate through this without any impact. Next, let's switch to this user. Well, let's continue with the operation of this task. After completing it, what's next? We switch users. Switch to the user we just mentioned. As for this user's password, let me think. It should be okay, after entering this user. After entering this user, the next step is to start addressing our image issue. The first step is to log in. Use a command to log into our repository. After logging in, what's the next step? Here, we need to connect to our repository, specifically our automated repository. Okay, it shows a successful login here. So what can we do next? We can directly log into our repository to download the image we need. Of course, here it's not actually downloading the image directly, but what? It's first downloading something else. The Docker file. Then we use this Docker file to create the image. Of course, here it's not actually a Docker file, but a container file. which essentially means the same thing as a Docker file. We build the image through our files to construct different versions of the container, which might have different names. This is because the name we use here is called a container file. First, we download this file. Okay, after downloading successfully, we use toldman to build it. To build our final result. Please note here, because we have downloaded this file to our current directory, downloaded to the current directory. And in the current directory, we actually only have this one file. Only this one file. Here, we actually use our build command. Then build our current one. The content in the current directory is used to build our image. As for the image name, there is a requirement in our task. This one is our image name. Earlier was the build command. And here is the effect of our build, right? After the build is completed, this question is related to the next one. Because in this question, we are creating a container image. After creating the container image, what do we need? We need to configure our container as a specific service. Yes, that's how it is. So, this first question is essentially preparing us for the second question, which is to first prepare the image, and then the next question is to use this image to build a complete service. That's the situation here, so let's go back and test it and execute it. Alright, this will take a little bit of time because it needs to download some images, download some original images, and then perform a secondary build based on the original images, and finally build a new image. Let's wait here. For a moment, it will be quick, right? Once the build is complete, what can you do? You can use a command to check our current progress. Of course, you don't have to look if you don't want to. The next task will actually require it, and here it's already completed. So here, our command is just like this. Portman followed by images, which allows you to check the current progress in our directory. Hey, we can see that this is what we just built, which belongs to what we constructed ourselves. Since this is entirely built by us, you can see that the timestamp is from just a few seconds ago. Here, the name of the image we have built should correspond to the one in the task. This name must be correct, because if it's wrong here, it will affect the next task. The next task is actually to use this image, the one we built here, to perform a detailed operation. Here everyone needs to pay attention. For this task, if the container environment hasn't started, it will encounter errors like the ones we demonstrated earlier. What should you do if you encounter such errors? You should reinitialize the environment. After reinitializing the environment, you can see that now, it seems like there are no issues with the build. At this point, you can actually delete the image and delete the files. Then, after exiting, we take a snapshot. This is equivalent to a complete initial snapshot of our first stage. Later on, it's best if you can also take a snapshot of the startup. This way, it will be more convenient for you to restore and redo things later. If you take a snapshot of the configuration later on, there might still be some issues, such as very slow startup times. This is normal, it's also normal. So, regarding this problem, as long as you can solve it, there shouldn't be any issues with the environment for other problems, because the environments for other problems are actually quite simple. In fact, some problems don't even require any environment, or some problems actually don't have any environment at all. So, after completing this problem, what can we do? Well, you can delete it, and then take a snapshot. This can serve as a complete snapshot for our beginner stage. However, in the intermediate stage, we will discuss methods for creating environments in the intermediate stage later on. This is different, of course. We haven't finished here yet. As for the container topic, this is just the end of node 1. Subsequently, there's node 2, right? We have 2 nodes, 2 virtual machines. So this is our creation of a container image. So for today, we'll stop here. If you need the complete question bank, you can leave a comment below and purchase the most stable question bank at the best price. That's it for today, everyone. Goodbye.